even did it ends, you have to determine what your contribution was through the entirety of that marriage. That doesn't make it complicated, because how then do you measure moral support or moral contribution? If I'm the husband and I say that I have supported my wife morally throughout the entire of this marriage, how do you quantify that moral support into assets? Is that why the courts are going to run into headwinds when they try and solve some of these divorce cases in the country? And you see what I've done? I've said, if a man goes in and said, I've morally supported my wife, or so ex-wife, to get these assets, it's not always the case that it's women who support men, isn't it? Read that story on page 14 as well. On health, there's a looming shortage of life-saving drugs. Now, the Kenya Pharmaceuticals Distributors Association has warned of imminent crisis, citing regulatory changes that could affect the importation of essential medicine. That story has been covered on page 12. And on politics, that's on page 213, why Moi picked Uhuru over Raila, Mudavadi, Kalonzo, and Saitoti. In his book, At the Ready, former minister, that is Masden Madoka, writes about his front row seat in the 2002 Moi succession intrigues. That story has been covered on page 2 and 3. Members of Parliament are set to condition for sale of Kenya Pipeline. If it's privatized, Kenya Pipeline Company will not import or sell petroleum products without approval from the National Assembly. Again, that story has been covered on page 10, you know. Also at a time when also the members of Parliament did pass the privatization bill that says that the cabinet doesn't have to, you know, approve the sale of public agencies in the country. It's a lead into this story, and that story has been covered also on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Let's cross over then to the Standard this morning. Look at exactly what they have covered. Same story that has been covered on the Standard, on the Daily Nation, on Faith Odhiambo resigning from President Ruto's panel on compensation for victims of protests. It marks a dramatic turn in a journey from protest heroine to embattled Law Society of Kenya president. But you see, this is an extension to what she said. For her, she said, I would have not resigned were it not for court delays, all right, stalled processes in that compensation, and detraction from my main job. That's what she said. So is the Standard getting it wrong this morning? Are they reading too much into her resignation? And then goes on to say, once celebrated for her fearless defense of the oppressed, Odhiambo found herself accused of betraying the very cause she championed. Her exit, after weeks of internal revolts and legal wrangles, is being seen by many as an act of courage and a step to correct a misjudgment that had tainted her stellar record. Yet, as applause mixes with skepticism, many now wonder whether she will reclaim the moral ground that once defined her leadership. That story has been covered on page 4. But how are we reading into this? She didn't resign immediately when there was an uproar in the country upon her accepting that appointment. Yeah? There's a judgment here that has been passed by the Standard this morning that she lost the moral ground. Is it too much? Did she lose it? She was quite clear. That story has been covered on page 4 of the Standard. Yeah? And let's look at exactly what she says. While the clock runs down on the panel's lifetime, victims continue to reach out to me in a total frustration of when the request for audience with the panel will be honored. and must therefore prioritize other avenues of responding to the plight of the victims through the other positions I hold. That is the LSK president right there, Odhiambo. Now, let's see exactly other areas that the Standard is focused on this morning. Losing faith. This is what they're saying. The LSK president, Faith Odhiambo, made history as only the second woman to head the lawyers' body, promising to defend the rule of law without fear or favor. She immediately became a stubborn thorn in the flesh for the Kenya Kwanza administration, especially during the Gen Z's protest in the country. She defended human rights crusaders, all right, picking calls in the dead of the night from distressed parents of abducted protesters, filing petitions in court in pursuit of justice for the protest victims. However, the once unwavering critique of government excesses has joined a panel of experts appointed by the very same government to compensate protest victims. Lawyers are up in arms now against our decision, saying it is illegal and could compromise LSK's independence. What do you think? Yeah? Have she resigned immediately or turned down that appointment from the government when they came calling? And what do you think is the reason for resigning from that commission? Is it a little bit too late, as the Standard is calling it this morning? You can also talk to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Now, there's a story here on page 6 on how Mwencha shaped trade in Africa. I'm going to read that story on this one. Now, in part 2 of this realization, Ambassador Mwencha narrates his travels and engagements in his tour of duty at COMESA, how he joined the Preferential Trade Area Secretariat and rose to chair the 21-member intergovernmental organization. That story has been covered on page 6 of the Standard. Now, consequently, we do expect that majority of these stories are also what Kenyans are talking about this morning. So let me jump into your trends this morning, see exactly what you are talking about. And remember, by the way, that majority of these stories have also been covered on our social media platforms and Look Up TV. Now, let's see exactly where we are. I can see, while I'm all trending, we're going to talk about that shortly. Let's see where we are. Yes, faith is trending this morning as well. Let me just pick a couple of sentiments on this particular trend. Faith Odhiambo this morning trending. It's trending number 11 in the country, and this is some of the responses that we've seen on that one. This is Kachwaya who's saying, you should have not resigned, allowing people who have no regard for the victim's best interest to bully you out of serving your country is weak. People should realize that any government position dealing with public money is a public trust position, never tied to any individual in authority or government of the day. That's what it is. Abdi, we said it from the start. This was a clear conflict of interest. You can't sanitize a flawed process from within. The right call, but next time, listen to Kenyans and the voices on the ground. Yeah? At Makau Mtua, appointed by Ruto as chair, was part of the setup to whitewash, not deliver justice. Credibility isn't built on titles. It's earned through the courage to do what's right. That is update this morning. That's it. Anthony was saying the whole team was bound to fail because of its mandate, compensation, and not accountability and justice, which should have been the top priorities. Many voices said so. Let me just read one from the atheists in Kenyan society. that we caution Faith not to join that silly, politically motivated compensation panel. Akakataa kusikia. All right? Great decision that atheists stand with you. Finally then, Patriot One Kamau was saying it takes great courage to do what you've done, Madam President. Indeed, I realized that your noble resolve to pursue meaningful change from within was misunderstood by many, but yet you remain a beacon of hope for the less fortunate Kenyans. We wish you all success, Madam, as you continue to agitate for institutional changes towards full implementation of the 2010 Constitution. A later continua. That's what Patriot One Kamau is saying. Let's move away then from this trend. And this morning again, there's a young man called Shalkido, who is trending this morning. Yeah? And this is the news that we have. The Kenyan Gengeton artist Shalkido, a real name is Kevin Mburu Kinyanjui. He passed away on October 6th, that was yesterday, 2025, from severe head injuries sustained in a hit-and-run motorbike accident on a Thika road near Githurai Car Wash. Yeah? Said that 30-year-old was riding back from a gig in Thika when an unidentified vehicle struck him and fled. He was declared brain dead at Kenyatta University Referral Hospital on October 5th. Recently gifted a motorbike by funds to support his family amid financial struggles. Shalkido leaves behind a wife and children, with police searching for the driver. We're really sad to read this story this morning. It's a young man who had a cry to Kenyans to help him get a motorbike to support his career and also get something that would help him raise some money for his family. It's what it is. Oletenya was saying he didn't deserve this ending. He deserved another shorter life. Rest in peace, Shalkido. That's Oletenya this morning. Buktan was saying is no more. Rest in peace, Shalkido. And finally then, Shalkido was a sailor's gang, alijiokolea when he hit rock bottom. Kenyans came through, hadi akapata nduthi na endorsement deals just when things were looking good for him. Amepata accident na hiyo nduthi, now in ICU and KU Referral Hospital, and has been declared dead. Finally then, sometimes I wonder how Earth works. Or once Shalkido was gifted a motorbike and the same motorbike took his life. Really a sad state of affairs right there. All right, finally then, Raila Amolo Odinga is trending, and he's been trending since yesterday as well. And this is just a snapshot of what you have to know, is that ODM did reject Raila Odinga health rumors as rivals deny involvement. Also, you gotta know that they are now asking you to pray for one Raila Amolo Odinga. Please, if you heed that call and you're Christian as well in this country, or you do have some faith, yeah, please make sure that you pass your prayers to one Raila Amolo Odinga. That's it. All right. Now this is Gachagua speaking. Now I'm gonna read quickly on what he said, and this is on the back of allegations that Rigathi Gachagua was part of a group that was wishing him ill health. Now on 5th October, he came out and said, "My prayer is that God gives Raila long life and good health. I pray to God that he supports William Ruto so that we can defeat both of them. And at 2027, we would like to deal with Kenyans' problem once for all, and it's the two of them." That's the response for one Rigathi Gachagua on those allegations that indeed he was among the few who were wishing Raila Amolo Odinga ill health. That's it. All right, majority of these stories have also been covered on our social media platforms, like I keep on saying, and Look Up TV across all of them. Once you're there, a subscription, a like, and a comment is the only thing that we would appreciate, isn't it? All right, we take a tiny breather. Once we come back, we get into our main conversation this morning. Understand robotics. Where are we as a country? Can we keep up with the other juries or other economies across the world? I'll be telling you of a group that is going all the way to Panama in 3 weeks' time to represent Kenya in an international robotics competition. I'll be telling you what that is once we come back right here on The Morning Drift. My name is Simba. Elijah Charles here. I can see you shortly.
People are there to belittle you. When people are questioning you,
if you don't move fast, of course, yes, you lose it, but then it's not us to push you.
But you do not know the God who has been molding me. What has he been doing to me?
The deep and mature conversations of empowerment for you with a curious mind and an appetite for oriented conversations.
I concur with what you're saying. You plan your finances, you can easily live without a debt.
An engaging safe space of free expression and truthfulness with an upheld vibrance, motivation and happiness.
So many children who are there, they are not living their dreams.
Join us for deep conversations with Zipporah Gashushe every Saturday from 8 p.m. The Deeper Conversations on Look Up TV.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you? How easy is it? What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. They look familiar. Have we met before?
No.
We met in village. Nobody is buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
People are there to belittle you. When people are questioning you,
If you don't move fast, of course, yes, you lose it, but then it's not us to push you.
but you do not know the God who has been molding me, what has he been doing to me?
The deep and mature conversations of empowerment for you with a curious mind and an appetite for oriented conversations.
I concur with what you're saying. You plan your finances, you can easily live without a debt.
An engaging safe space of free expression and truthfulness with an upheld vibrance, motivation and happiness.
So many children who are there, they are not living their dreams.
Join us for deep conversations with Zipporah Gashushe every Saturday from 8 p.m. The Deeper Conversations on Look Up TV.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Welcome back to Look Up TV. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. For the next 1 hour, let's go back to class. The question that I started asking you this morning is that in this day and age, when you take your child to school, a couple of questions that you need to answer as a parent. What are some of the co-curricular activities that this school that I'm taking my kid to have? One, do they have robotics? And why is robotics quite important for you to understand as a parent and also as a young learner this morning? Why is it important for you to understand robotics? In a nutshell, what is robotics? So this morning, we have that conversation. Now, Kenyans' classrooms are entering a new era where coding, creativity, and robotics are also becoming a very important as math and science. Across the country, hundreds of schools are introducing young learners to robotics education, with government and private partners driving STEM integration into the competency-based education curriculum in the country. Look at where we are from Nairobi to Kakamega. Learners are now learning, building, coding, and competing in both national and international robotics challenges, preparing a generation ready for digital economy. I'm already revealing so much about the conversation that we're going to have this morning, the importance of robotics essentially as it is. Fantastic. So this morning, I want to introduce you to a group of gentlemen who have a team that is going to represent the country in Panama. That is next month. The question is going to be, what are they representing the country in Panama? And how has the journey been all the way to them representing the country in Panama? Before then, I introduce the gentlemen who are going to join us for that conversation this morning. I want to give you an insight of that competition that is going to happen in Panama, the basis of that competition, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. It's also going to show you then what competition under robotics looks like. Let's take a look at this 2-minute presentation of what that competition is going to be about, what it's focusing on, because that then would open you to a broader view of what you expect for us to talk about this morning and what the two gentlemen that I have in the studio are going to talk about. Let's take a look at this. Once we come back, we talk about it, plus many other issues around robotics in class and how Kenya can keep up. Let's take a look.
First global challenge, Eco-Equilibrium. During the 2-minute and 30-second match, 6 national teams worked together as a global alliance to restore a healthy planet by removing barriers and maximizing biodiversity in ecosystems before dividing into 2 3-team regional alliances to secure protection for biodiversity in the future. 3 barriers to biodiversity are positioned in each of the 3 ecosystems. Each of the 2 dispensers contains 60 biodiversity units. Robots start the match in the regional zone next to their corresponding alliance station, in contact with the guardrail. The match begins when the announcer says, "Go!" The Global Alliance robots work to remove barriers from the ecosystem and maneuver them into the mitigators. At the same time, dispensers release biodiversity units onto the playing field. Robots can temporarily increase the rate that biodiversity is introduced by rotating the accelerator. Biodiversity units are added to the ecosystems by robots or by human players. The Global Alliance earns more points when the biodiversity units are evenly distributed across all 3 ecosystems by the end of the match. All 6 teams on the Global Alliance earn points for barriers removed via the mitigators, biodiversity units added to the ecosystems, and the distribution of the biodiversity units. Towards the end of the match,
A snapshot then of what that competition is all about. But it's a good thing that the gentlemen behind it are right here in the studio. So let me take this time then to introduce Kelvin Gitao, who's a STEM and robotics trainer. Mr. Gitao, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you, Look Up TV. Thank you, Simba, for having us this morning. We are so much honored to be here and to have this conversation on robotics.
That's it. Karibu sana as well. We do have Ian Waithaka, who's an embedded systems hardware designer. Mr. Waithaka, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having us this morning. I'm excited to have a conversation about robotics and get to learn a bit more about what we're doing at First Global Robotics.
That's it. Fantastic. Oof. That's it then. Let's begin like this.
Yeah.
Who are you? Let's begin from there.
All right, my name is Kelvin Gitao, and as you introduced me, I'm a STEM and robotics trainer, or let me say STEM and robotics educator, because what I do is really to inspire young people across the country to pursue STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So I promote that. And when it comes to robotics, robotics is actually intersection of multiple STEM fields. Under robotics, we have electronics, we have programming, mechatronics, and apart from that, we also have non-technical skills like teamwork, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity,
yes,
which are core skills required in this 21st century. So as a STEM educator, I work with various institutions across the country, cutting across all the way from primary school to universities.
Yes.
And I'm working with the TME education program that equips the young people with technological skills. And also, back to robotics, I'm also leading a team. We are participating in a competition called First Global.
That's it.
And just to make it clear, the word FIRST is actually an acronym which stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology.
I see.
It might be confusing. We say First Global 2025, yes. First Global 2026.
Yes.
So again, it's an organization that promotes STEM.
Yes.
So we are so much honored to be representing our country, Kenya, in this prestigious competition. It's the biggest competition for teenagers.
Yes.
And we only have one team per country participating in this competition. And just a point of correction, the competition is actually this month.
It's actually this month?
Yeah.
It's this month.
This month.
I keep on losing my dates for the month. I do apologize for that. Which date is it?
So all the way from, it's going to be held from 27th October
yes.
to 2nd of November.
November.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes, and with me here is one of our students. I was there last year, and he's here this year with us.
Yes.
He's an amazing student. And yeah, he'll tell us more about
what he does. More.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to jump into him as well. It's a very good thing that he came with you in the studio this morning, because then I think you act as an inspiration on what robotics can be, Ian. Even before we get into the topic of where we are at Panama, what we're going to do there, let me also introduce Ian to the conversation. You have so many titles. I was looking at it, I was like, without now graphic size, I told them, now choose whatever you want to put on that poster. Because they said, well, these titles can't fit on the poster, which is also a good thing this morning, because then it shows a career opening or a career direction should somebody decide to say, I'm going into robotics. On our poster, we have you as an embedded systems designer. Let's first define that. What is that? When you say, I'm an embedded systems designer, Ian, what do you mean?
All right. So I will start off with the definition of embedded systems. So embedded systems is basically computers, but they're less general purpose. For example, your tablet, for example. So an embedded system could be a microphone or a camera. So it's less advanced than your traditional computer. So yeah. Now, my expertise as an embedded hardware designer is I design circuit boards. So for the robots that we make, we need to control different sensors and different actuators. Now, to do this, you need to have embedded systems is a multidisciplinary field. Yes. So today here, I brought something to demonstrate so that the viewers can better engage on what exactly it is. So this circuit board is an embedded system. Now what it allows someone to do is to control general purpose items. So if you have, for example, an air conditioning unit that you'd like to control, you'd get something like this as opposed to a traditional computer. So yeah, aside from being an embedded systems designer, I've also been heavily participating in robotics and the STEM field. So it's been really a good opportunity to learn about more advanced technologies and how they can improve our lives. And yeah, so it's been really a good opportunity. I've really enjoyed the first global competition. As my friend mentioned, yes. It's the second year doing this, so it's been really an eye-opening experience for me.
That's it. Pretty much, we'll be talking deeply on what you can do to just find your way in robotics and why you decided to go to the embedded systems direction. Now let's then talk about first Panama.
All right.
What are we going to do in Panama? And how has the build-up to going to Panama been?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Before I get into that,
yes.
Now that we have this opportunity, and I know a lot of people are watching us.
That's it.
And a lot of young people are probably young people who probably want to join the team. I'd like to mention that first of all, we have been doing this since the year 2017. And like I mentioned, this is an annual international robotics competition.
Yeah.
So any young person who is passionate about robotics, STEM, and basically changing their communities can be part of this. And so back to your question, what we're gonna be doing in Panama. So the competition is held in a different country each year. So this year, the competition is being held in Panama, and the theme for this year is eco-equilibrium. So Ian will have a chance to really explain that. Talk about that. And there's a build-up to the event. So we have about this season started way back in May.
Yes.
So between May and October, each team you have several activities. Number one is to promote the theme. So this year's theme, as Ian will give us more details.
Yes.
It's centered around biodiversity. Looking at how do for example, looking at the impact of climate change, okay, and just looking at how I think Ian, I'll just leave Ian to talk more about the equilibrium because I don't want to get into details of that.
Yes.
But we have had social media challenges, for example, and some of these social media challenges prompt us as Team Kenya to, for example, do an outreach, go to a school and talk about robotics and show demos. We have had social media challenges where we are tasked with reaching out to government officials, for example, because we're also running a campaign known as the Robotics as a Sport.
Yes.
Where we're trying to convince our governments to recognize robotics as a sport. Now that we mentioned that this is a robotics competition, so some countries such as Indonesia and Belize have already done that. So as you can see, it's not just about building robots. So the team gets to be out there in the community and solve problems that they experience in their community. So it's all about problem solving. It's all about giving young people the chance to be community change makers, the way I like to put it.
Yes.
So we are basically building community change makers.
Yes.
We are building leaders. Some of the students, when they join the competition, they are very shy, they cannot express themselves, but towards the end, you see a transformed student in terms of now their exposure, in terms of their interest in the technology field. So in Panama, we're going to have more than 190 countries convene now for the culmination of the event. And that's where we get to compete with other countries. And the competition, the way it's structured, it's in alliances. So one alliance is made up of 3 countries.
Yes.
So that could be Kenya, TZ, Germany versus US, China, and another country.
Yes.
So we have the ranking matches, the playoffs, semi-finals, and the finals. So, so we are going to be competing for, the top positions. I mean, like the winning alliance. So there's a video which you played, which really summarizes what we call the game design, what the robots are supposed to do. And from May, the team has been building a robot. So we have a standard kit, which is shipped to all the countries. And now you have to use your creativity to come up with a robot to perform those tasks. So same kit, different design. So the design just depends on your team's creativity.
Yes.
And you also have not work alone. We also have a team of mentors. So most of them are university students who again are passionate about STEM and robotics. So we all work together. As you know, robotics can be quite challenging.
Yes, yes.
Especially when you get to it, the hands-on part, and we see that a lot. You're given the kit and you don't know where to start. You can be overwhelmed. There's the electronics. You've seen so many parts.
The coding aspect as well.
The coding aspect.
Yes, yes.
And that's where we come in as the mentors, and we have resources that we share with the team.
Yes.
And what really happens is that within a short period, they now get the gist and they get to understand, okay, this is how it works. And as you saw in that video, the size of the robots we are building a bit complex in a way, but we are able to guide them. And now to quickly summarize, each team gets to travel with their robot. So travel with the robot. Now this year we're gonna be traveling with the robot all the way to Panama.
Yes.
Yeah, and we meet other teams, and while we are there, we are representing our country as the only team from our nation, and we're also meeting teams from other countries. So it's also a chance to form, friendships.
Yes.
Yeah, global friendships and collaborate.
Yes.
So it's really all about collaboration, bringing young people together. That's the bigger vision.
That's it.
Yeah.
Before I cross over to Ian, I know we've started this topic about you taking go to Panama and you working with different institutions. The people listening to you right now and they're wondering, wait, why am I not part of it? Or why was my school not part of it? Why was I not part of it? For guys who are listening to you this morning and they're like, well, I would like to start learning robotics. I would like to be part of the guitar group. What do they need to start doing?
All right, so I think that really depends, first of all, on the age.
Yes.
So, you know, for university students, it's different, let's say from kids in kindergarten. And actually for us, we are participating also in other competitions.
That's it.
Like the Pan-African Robotics competition and many others. So, you know, we have a community. We are very present on our social media at FGC_Kenya. You can find us there. And we have boot camps each school holiday. And the boot camp really caters for everyone. So the boot camp, the 1 week or 2 week boot camps,
yes,
gives you a chance, an entry point into robotics. So we introduce it. It's very project based. Okay, so we start from somewhere. Mostly we give you a kit, and there is guided instructions on how to build the robot.
Yes,
and we are there to coach you. So number 2, again, I would say is to take advantage of online resources. Nowadays we have a lot of resources, so you can take advantage of that. But most importantly, Simba will say, for robotics, you really have to be there physically. You really have to work with a team. And it's open for us. Anyone can be part of our community. Yeah.
So the community is open,
yeah,
and then somebody wants to be associated with you can actually
reach out. Exactly.
Reach out, and then you give them the way to also get involved.
Yes.
In this competition that you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good. Ian, now to you now. Watch a very complex video here of what the competition in Panama is going to look like. And I know when it comes through, you're just given a topic on what the competition is going to touch on, and then you're told it's up to you now to create around that particular topic and achieve the challenges that you've been given in that competition. Let's begin from there. Can you give us an outlook of what that Panama competition is really focusing on before you start telling us now how you start interpreting those challenges that have been given in the competition?
All right. So as you saw from the video, this year's theme is eco-equilibrium. So what is eco-equilibrium? We're trying to look at how we can basically restore balance between human progress and the planet's ecosystem. So some of the issues that we're looking at, for example, is food insecurity. Now from the video, you saw there were little balls, but the bots are moving around. Now, the First Global, they design a game that's meant to help students sort of build real-world solutions for real-world problems. Now, this year's competition is centered around eco-equilibrium, so we're looking at how we can, restore balance between human progress and the planet's ecosystem. So sort of based off of a game design, what we're trying to do is the robot that we're building is meant to deposit balls, and then it's also meant to climb different platforms. So it's mostly about teamwork, and then there's also different aspects towards it. So there's mechanical engineering, there's electronics engineering, and yeah. So that's sort of generally a feel of a competition and what it entails. But all in all, the challenge is not just the competition itself. So as Kelvin mentioned, there are a couple of activities that lead up to the build-up. Now, these activities include different challenges, but the people give to the students. So, for example, we had a new technology experience. So it's a challenge that happens every year. It's still within First Global. So what they do is they give you a research question, and you're supposed to go into it and look at how you can create real-world solutions for the problem. So for this year, we looked at seed biodiversity. Now, what is seed biodiversity? So seed biodiversity is, we're looking at the different species of seeds. For example, maize. We know food insecurity is a big issue in Kenya. So the solution that we created was a system to monitor the health of a seed. So we're testing for different parameters, for example, temperature, humidity, and how it affects the health of a seed. Now, such insights could help farmers better know how to preserve their seeds to prevent diseases from the crops that sometimes we may farm and then we get bad produce. So really, Fast Global is about solving real-world problems. So it's a challenge that helps young people get real-world experience into some of these issues.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I hear you explain, and I'm sorry to point this out, because now, Ian, you know, you're in the system. You can see how the challenge is already inspiring you to start creating and innovating. But could you tell me why you started from? Like, what was your light bulb moment when you said, I would like to get into robotics? How did you start? When did you start? Can we talk about that?
So this journey started around 5 years ago.
Yes.
So I was really interested in different projects. I would go online, I look up, I see videos of people building different projects.
Hold on, Ian, hold on.
Yeah.
You know when you always say, I went online. Because we got to talk about this and listen. You know, it took me up to, was it 3 years ago, for me to actually know that there's an element in learning that is called robotics. And then somebody told me, hey, yo, bro, you gotta look at what guys are doing in China. I mean, these things that you guys are creating here, these motherboards, you know, easy robotics, you know, bicycle gears. You know, kids as young as 10 years old can tell you exactly how a bicycle gear works. I was like, how? That's when I was introduced to robotics. They're like kids as young as 4 years of age, 2 years of age, they're learning robotics in China. Now, for you, it was up to 5 years ago. That your inspiration was you watching videos online.
Yeah.
That's when it started.
Yeah.
But nobody came to you and told you, I would like for you to learn robotics. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess my father always pushed me towards the STEM field.
Yes.
But being in the field myself, it's something that I've always had interest in. So he saw that I had interest in the field, so he pushed me towards it more.
Okay.
But so, yeah.
It's because you had an informed family.
Yeah.
That knows that STEM is the future. So in one way or another, then we gotta expose, you know, our kids, not force them to go in it, but sort of expose them so they can pick the interest. Is that what happened to you?
Yeah.
You must be very lucky, Ian. Yeah? Yes. So talk to me about now. You got started then?
All right. So after picking up on videos, I started wanting to build such projects for myself.
Yes.
So the first thing was to learn about programming. So I started doing a bit of coding, just learning how to build small projects, for example, a calculator app. So really it's sort of a build-up. Once I got familiarized with the programs, now I started wanting to build actual devices. So that being said, I learned about the components that are going to build different projects.
Yes.
So I learned a bit about electronics, sort of how to build these projects, and then, yeah, so now the field of embedded systems itself, it's just, think of it as electronics engineering and computer science. So it's sort of, they come together in that sense. So yeah, now my journey for 5 years has been, I've been doing a lot of STEM and robotics competitions.
Yes.
So yeah, the outlook on it, the experience that I've had has been really nice. It's been a really engaging experience. I've gotten to meet many different people. I've gotten to involve myself in different communities. As Kelvin mentioned, we have a really active community in FGC. So if someone wants to join, you'll probably find us at a STEM competition. For example, Young Scientists Kenya, you'll find many of us there. So we're always looking for talent, always looking for different people, and I've gotten to sort of learn from my peers, especially from the mentors.
Yes.
They've been a big inspiration because most of them are older and they're pursuing some of these courses. For example, computer science, mechanical engineering.
That's it.
So learning from them has been a big part in how it shaped my journey in learning about robotics and everything.
I'll be coming to Kelvin on exactly where we are. I know he's talking to a lot of schools and parents to get their kids in robotics. I'll be assessing where we are as a country. But then, before I go back to him, Ian, there's something that we know in this country, that when it comes to STEM education, we don't have an representation of females in this field. I hear you talk, and I'm like, do you think that a lady would have the same experience as you've had in your journey in robotics up to where you are right now?
Right. So in terms of the representation, it's actually on the ground, it's much different. There's a lot of support for the women in this field. Like sometimes I could go for a competition and then I feel like the judges are being unfair because like they could favor the women sometimes.
Yes.
So in terms of the government's position on enabling females in the STEM field, it's been really active, and I've gotten to meet a lot of STEM creators who have initiatives and they're women. So it's not really, there's a lot of proactiveness around females in the field. So what we're trying to do at FGC is to have a balanced team. So we also like to have, it's not just the males only. So it's not a male-centered field. There are many females. So yeah, it's not really a male-centered field only.
Pretty much. Guess what? We take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back then, we'll be looking at different aspects and also go into that model that you have right there on the desk with Ian this morning. He's going to talk deeply into that. And also, what is most really important, if you're going to take anything from the gentleman who are here today, as a parent and as somebody, a young learner who's seated back at home and watching, is that, do you know that STEM really is the highest paying career in any economy across the world? So you're sort of thinking, where can I fit? You don't have to think so far because Ian is here this morning. You already do have examples of where you can fit. Once we come back, we talk about issues with teacher readiness in the country and also early exposure. Where can we get it started? Right here on the Morning Drift.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
People are there to belittle you. When people are questioning you,
if you don't move fast, of course, yes, you lose it, but then it's not us to push you.
But you do not know the God who has been molding me. What has he been doing to me?
The deep and mature conversations of empowerment for you with a curious mind and an appetite for oriented conversations.
I concur with what you're saying. You plan your finances, you can easily live without a debt.
An engaging safe space of free expression and truthfulness with an upheld vibrance, motivation and happiness.
So many children who are there, they are not living their dreams.
Join us for deep conversations with Zipporah Gashushe every Saturday from 8 p.m. The Deeper Conversations on Look Up TV.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
feel right at home because it's a conversation that I like having, because when it comes to where we are as a country, then it becomes very easy for you to gauge from the conversations that we're having in the studio right here in the morning. Now, Kelvin, let me take you to what CBE in the country states. And this is what they're saying, that if you look at where we are as a country, they've retooled 291,134 teachers under CBE, including 60,642 junior secondary school educators. But then they say very few have hands-on experience with robotics kits or software programs. And just hold that thought right there. In this country, we also do know that we normally go for science fairs in this country. And I do know from my days back in high school, we used to call it science competitions. And I attended one. I never liked science so much. I attended one. But guess what I didn't see in majority of those competitions back then? It was robotics. It was really missing so much. So the stress for robotics essentially will start from classes. But then, if Kenyan teachers don't have, number one, experience in coding, and number two, they don't have a hands-on experience in robotics, then you can see exactly what we're missing. Kelvin, do you think as a country then, and I know we're speaking about this just before we went on air, on how some economies even have CSs who are in charge of AI and they come right within from that field. Do you think as a country we need to start having those conversations? And from a career perspective, why do you think it's important that now this country needs to have those conversations?
Well, okay. Talk about a couple of things.
Yes.
This is an area I'm very interested in as an educator, first of all, and having worked with a lot of schools, being on the ground and seeing what's happening. First of all, when it comes to building the teacher capacity, what we need is continuous training and engagement. Because a lot of times we have those one-offs, you know, like a workshop,
Yes.
1 week workshop. But you find for the teachers to build that capacity, you need it to be continuous. And that creates the need for us to, as a country, invest in what I call maker spaces or science STEM labs.
Yes.
You know, so we could have a maker space or a lab serving a couple of schools, and this means a well-equipped lab. So one of the common things we use in robotics is kits, and a kit is basically, it basically contains various components, hardware components that you can connect and build a project or build a robot. So that is needed. The resources, that's basically what I'm saying, that's the resources. Because that is the gap I've seen in most of these schools. That is a challenge I've witnessed in most of these schools. The teachers have the curiosity. What I love about the teachers nowadays, they have the curiosity. Many of the teachers reach out to me. They've even done their research and they reach out to me, and what's common amongst all of them is that they lack the resources. They have the interest, yes, but lack the resources. And as at times also you find that some of these schools also, you know, they also have challenges around network connectivity. I mean, like access just to the internet.
Yes.
And a computer lab. If you ask me, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about what I do is because I did not have this chance when I was also in high school. Never knew about STEM.
You and I, Kelvin.
Yes. So I now see the importance
Yes.
of exposing learners to this.
Yes.
And personally, one day I say it's one of my goals to go back to my high school and build a STEM lab for them, because that was a challenge back then.
Yes.
But coming back to this conversation, I mean, there's a lot of collaboration. We have right now, I'm seeing we have a lot of STEM providers in the country, which is great, which is amazing. So we all need to collaborate, and also our government needs, especially the Ministry of Education, they need to onboard people who are experienced in STEM, in robotics, and they really need to invest in that continuous training of our teachers.
Yes.
And I love the fact that the CBE, it was CBC.
It was CBC, now it's CBE.
CBE.
Yes, yes.
Is focusing on robotics. Personally, I've been interviewing some teachers and asking them how is the engagement in terms of STEM and robotics.
Yes.
I mean, a good number of schools are putting in efforts, but we still have a long way to go. As FGC, one of our plans is to have local robotics competitions, because what a competition does, it's it kind of pushes you to work extra hard, because you're going to compete with other teams. So
yes.
I mean, we are open to working with other organizations to make this a reality. And the reason I'm saying this is because I've also benchmarked. So I've been fortunate enough to participate in several fast global competitions, and I've interacted with other countries that are really doing good in terms of robotics, like India, Kazakhstan, and I'm able to have conversations with their teachers, their mentors. And for example, in India, they have so many competitions. So if I find Simba each weekend, there's a competition.
There's a competition in robotics.
Yeah, there's a competition in robotics. And that gives you a chance to build that interest, because teachers can participate as well. So it gives them a chance, an opportunity to practice their skills and also to build that network.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ian, to you now. It's a good thing that Kelvin brought to you, because for you now, it's going to be an inspiration conversation right here in the studio. People talk about robotics, but then normally the end picture is what people never get to see. Let's talk about like the model that you have right there on the table. If you ask any kid, and we're going to come to Kelvin on young exposure and the benefits of young exposure, ask any kid today, ask them, what do you want to be? You're going to get 3 or 4 careers that are coming from this question. I want to be an engineer, I want to be a pilot, I want to be so and so. So you can see the idea on what they want to be is there. But now when you introduce them to early robotics, like the model that you have there, what can that turn into? What career can that you have in the table right there turn into,
All right, so in terms of robotics, I think career-wise, a good sort of gateway is into industrial engineering and automation. So in Kenya, a big issue, something that I'm really passionate about, is seeing Kenya and sub-Saharan Africa at large become more industrialized. So currently, as it is, most of the investment is driven towards software companies. Now, when it comes to robotics and embedded systems, it's an opportunity for people to design physical systems. Now, if we have physical systems, we can be able to build factories for manufacturing. So yeah, as a gateway for career-wise, I'd say industrial engineering. That's something that I'm really passionate about. And with the embedded systems that I design,
yes.
I'd really love to build industrial controllers for people to be able to sort of automate their manufacturing processes.
That's
so,
it.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that it's talking about industrial engineering, because that's what the country is open to. We are developing economy.
Yeah.
So majority of solutions actually needed locally then. I was told to ask you this question, and this is a guy that I follow online. It's a guy who builds chips and motherboards, ECUs for older cars, and he's found a niche in that area. He builds all the engines that are carburetor fed, without an ECU, the mechanical engines, comes in and builds an ECU that communicates with the engine and essentially tells the engine components how to behave. It's been an inspiration locally and internationally. Last time I watched him, there was a company that was talking about coming with its engineers here to learn exactly what he's doing, so that it could also inspire their staff back home on what to do with all the engines, which majority of people are now discarding. For you, Ian, under industrial engineering, and I want to get back to the question that I asked you earlier on, did you start knowing where you're going to end up in, or over time, because of the exposure, because of meeting people like Kelvin, who've essentially now thrown you into the field, you've now identified your end game, like this is exactly where I'm going to end at?
So when I started off, I didn't really have a clear picture. I just wanted to build projects that I love.
That's
so
it.
For example, the car, I just wanted to drive it around. But as I got to know more about the field and talking to different people, I began to see sort of the opportunities that lie. So yeah, in terms of starting off and transitioning now to focus on embedded systems itself, it's really something that I've seen is a big issue, and I'd like to start solving that issue. So I'd like to do my part in that.
That's it. And a very important component in robotics is coding. There's the basic coding, and I know the coding software that you're exposed to when you're starting, you know, turn left, turn right, you know, make the lights come up. Now there's the advanced coding as well. Where are you in your coding capabilities right now, Ian? And to what level would you like to get to?
Right, so in terms of my coding and programming ability, I would say still at an amateur level, because as you progress, you begin to see larger projects and sort of the things that people put together. But when it comes to my particular field, the technical depth that you require is sort of how to interact with the low-level hardware. So it's not something that's really difficult per se. Like, it's sort of a straightforward process, because it's something that's done on a continuous basis. So the amount of documentation and information that's out there to teach someone how to put together the different algorithms, it's sort of like building puzzles. So it's really plug and play. You're not solving problems that require you to devise new ways of doing things. So yeah, in terms of my programming levels, I'm still at an amateur level, but I look towards sharpening those skills and honing them and becoming much more capable in terms of the projects that I can put together.
Yes. When you sit right now, because I know you figured out your field, you want to go into industrial engineering, but is there a solution? Are there questions that you're asking yourself right now? I know when you look around, I said, I want to end up in this field because I feel like this field should be run in this direction. The biggest innovators and biggest success stories are the ones that start young. Do you already know what solutions you want to give this country?
Yeah, so actually, as my bio mentioned, I'm an embedded systems hardware designer. So what I do, I think I'll demonstrate.
That's it.
For example, what I do is I sort of design circuit boards, and then I place the different components on them based on the function that's needed. So in terms of how I'd like,
you gotta be less technical.
Yeah.
I want you to go back and explain. It's gotta be a 1+1 explanation. Let's go back again. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I want you to explain what this is a motherboard. This is exactly what it does. And so from there, this is exactly what I place here, and then this is what it does. Yes.
Okay. So for example, let's say you want to build a temperature control system for your house. You want to be able to have ambient temperature whenever you enter the house, so you don't need to be too hot or too cold.
That's
so
it.
A solution is now having an embedded system that does this. So what you'll do is you'll get a circuit board, and within that circuit board, it's not like a usual motherboard that you'd have in a computer. So it's less complex, it's a bit more simpler, it has less resources. So what it does is it communicates with the sensors, and then once it communicates with the sensors, it's able to adjust the temperature based off of that. So that's one example of an embedded system, I'd say. So basically what it entails is it's to solve sort of small computational problems, but don't require a lot of complexity within it.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess now in terms of as a field and how I'd like to progress with it, I'd like to develop circuit boards for industrial control. So within a factory, just where you have a computer, now there's a computers that control the machines. For example, let's say you have a bottling company. So you'd need the machines for failing, and you'd need to communicate with them. Now, as an embedded hardware designer, you'd come in by designing a circuit board, but has different peripherals, but allow someone to communicate with the sensors and give feedback to the transducers.
That's it.
So, yeah.
Fantastic.
It's just it's not a complicated process. There's a lot of technical jargon.
That's Ian saying it's not complicated because he's right in it and he can already see it in his mind. All right, another question that I want to ask you just before then I finally cross over to Kelvin.
Yeah.
That majority of the things that you're describing right there, Ian, in this country, that we wait for that technology to be imported.
Yeah.
Are you saying that you want it to be locally found now? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. So currently in Kenya, there's actually only one company that does the assembly of circuit boards, and they do it for
just a single
There's
company.
only one company.
That's how bad we are.
Yeah. So we have a lot of catching up to do, because if you look at a country like China, for example, they're able to take advantage of large economies of scale when it comes to manufacturing these circuit boards. So if we're able to do the manufacturing locally, it could be something that's really good for us, because we'd save on importing. Importing machinery from outside is really expensive. So, but based off of that, in Kenya there's really only one company that's doing it. But there's a lot of design of the circuit boards as well, and they send their files over and they're manufactured in countries like China, for example, and then they're shipped over to Kenya. So currently, those are some of the projects that we do. Whenever we design boards, we send the files over to China, and then they're manufactured, they're brought to Kenya. So yeah, it would be good to see the manufacturing
right
happening
here, locally, isn't it? The space that really. So for anybody who's listening, you can say if you want to become like Ian, then start on robotics and find your way. And he says there's just a lot of areas that you can land on in that line. Good, Kelvin. Just following up on that, early exposure to robotics, you can see exactly how Ian is invested in that field. When he speaks, he already has an idea. He already knows exactly what it is and what he wants to do. At what age should young learners in this country start getting exposed to robotics, and what robotics should we start exposing young learners in this country to, so they can actually have the kind of knowledge and enthusiasm that Ian has this morning?
All right, so I can say as early as possible. And there's also the part of parental, where parent needs to invest. That is something I would encourage parents to do.
Yes.
Nowadays we have providers, organizations or companies providing STEM and robotics training.
Yes.
Whether private tutoring or just weekend training workshops. So we have such as there's one called Rama Homeschooling. So they offer private tutoring. That's just an example. But I would want to focus so much on that part of the investment, because also looking at in these generations, luckily the parents of, in this generation are more exposed, they are tech savvy, not like our parents, yeah. Parents nowadays, they're a bit tech savvy, and they know the importance of exposing kids to AI and robotics. And there's something I really like to mention. For us to understand where we are at now, in this 21st century, we have to look back. I really like to refer to the industrial revolutions. You've had the first, second, third, fourth. Right now, we're not sure whether we're in the fifth or the sixth.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
We have these emerging technologies. We're talking about AI, IoT, Internet of Things, cryptocurrency, robotics.
Yes.
So kids needs to start as early as possible. And the good thing is that as educators, we have really invested in terms of curriculum, because that is a very important tool, developing STEM and robotics curriculum. We actually have one that we follow. And the good thing is that it's structured in such a way that it accommodates. So we have content for kids, let's say ages 3 to 6.
As young as 3?
Yeah, as young as 3.
So hold on.
Yeah.
They have to be started. If you want to start them as young as 3.
As young as 3. Yeah. So,
if you want to spark their interest for good, then start them early, isn't it?
Yeah. So at that young age, you know, it doesn't need to be to have. It could be just doing connection. You know, it doesn't have to be powered or electronics.
Yes.
It could just be blocks. They can, like Lego blocks.
That's it.
You know, put them together, and from that age, they're forming those problem-solving skills. And now, as they progress, maybe from ages 6, you know, we have a curriculum and kits that they can use to develop skills. Personally, I've seen kids at the ages of 8 who are very good in robotics. So start early. That's what I can say.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
all it is. Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. Ian, I want you to take 2 minutes on this as well. Actually, 1 minute, because that's the time that we've been given now to get out of here. Robotics has been seen as, you know, a skill for the rich for quite some time now in the country. Can you demystify that it's not a preserve for the abled kids in these good schools and from good families? They can be for everybody.
Yeah, so in terms of robotics, the equipment does cost some money, but the good thing is there are a lot of innovation hubs that have such equipment. One example that I know of is AfriFab Labs. So what they do is they have equipment like 3D printers, and they also have different equipment that allow people to prototype. So really, the focus should be on a paradigm shift from not having an individual having to purchase the components, but rather having spaces where creative people can come together and have the components to build the projects that they want to come to life.
That's it.
So yeah,
Pretty
there's
much.
also, maybe to just on a parting note, there's a large open source community that allows people to learn about the different platforms. So the entry level for now the actual education of learning how to program these different systems, there's really no barrier to entry towards it. So there's a large open source community where experienced developers, they come together, they put different documentations, they explain to people how to build these devices. So it's really, the sector is really good in terms of collaboration. So yeah, most of the things that we actually learn, we just use reference from open source communities.
Yes.
So yeah.
Pretty much. Kelvin, I do know that we've got to talk about this before we step out of the studio this morning. I know the team that is going to Panama would need some support for any other interested Kenyan, isn't it?
Yeah.
If somebody wants to support you today, how can they start doing it, and how would you like for them to support you?
Yeah, so we need a lot of support, and so we have an Mchanga account. I think I shared that.
That's it.
We shared and
can I read it? Do you have it? Do you have it at the back of your mind?
I've shared it.
Okay, that's it. So for those guys who really want to help the team, FGC Kenya, what you gotta do? Go to your M-Pesa right now. Pay bill number is 891-300. That's it. I'm gonna repeat again. 891-300. All right. The account is FGC Kenya. Simply as that. FGC Kenya. All right. No spacing. And everything caps, pretty much like that. And then after that, you would start then to support the team that is going on to Panama, isn't it? All right, then I would ask you then, how confident are you that the team that you've put together, is Ian part of it?
Yeah.
Oh, then they already won. How confident are you that indeed the team that is going to represent the country is well equipped to actually make rounds in Panama?
So we have done this before, and we are back at it again.
Yes.
So we are aiming to, we are aiming for the best. So we have done a lot of preparation, and we are still doing preparation in the next 3 weeks that we have.
Yes.
So for us as a team, we are ready. We're putting in more efforts. And something unique about the competition is actually, it's not really about the competition aspect, but it's more centered on collaboration. So it's not that we are going to win any cash prizes. So yes, there's awards for excellence in terms of performance.
Yes.
But it's really about bringing young people together and giving them that opportunity to interact, form lifelong friendships, and tackle real life problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Ian, I gotta ask you this question as well. How well have you prepared for this one that is taking you all the way to Panama?
Well, for the last 2 months, we've been convening to build the robot. So in terms of its completion, we're 90% done.
That's it.
Just polishing to adapt it for now the game design. So yeah, in terms of preparation, we're feeling confident, but we'll probably represent Kenya when it comes to the competition in Panama, and we're hopeful that we'll do well.
That's it. Because I know when you guys are preparing, it takes a lot. It's not just about putting the robot together. There's so much in terms of teamwork, in terms of leadership, in terms of how has that built you as a person? I can tell when it comes to expressing yourself, you're quite clear. As being part of that group also helped you develop your interpersonal skills.
Yes, definitely. So in terms of collaboration, especially when you're building a robot, things can get quite messy.
That's it, I know.
People can have different ideas, and we're all trying to narrow down on something. So in terms of collaboration, it builds a lot of teamwork skills, especially if you're in a team, for example, of engineers. Now, later on in your career, it allows you to sort of understand, okay, how can we allocate tasks and go at them one by one? So in terms of the collaboration and leadership skills, it's really given me an opportunity to learn how to work with different people, to learn how to assimilate myself with people who have different ideas, and sort of open up my mind to sort of the different ideas that people may have. So it's really been an inclusive experience. I've really enjoyed it. It's been really nice.
That's it. Kelvin, take 45 seconds. That's the only thing that we have left. To what level do you intervene as a trainer? Because robotics is about self-expression. To what level would you want to intervene as a trainer so that you leave the creativity and the performance to your students?
Well, number one, there's the technical input.
That's it.
As a mentor, I'm constantly, gaining more skills that I impart on them, and it's also giving them a chance. Like for Ian, this time round, he's more of a student and also a mentor.
That's it.
So the experience like Ian also assists to inspire new team members.
That's it.
Yeah, and also it's all about basically creating awareness about robotics and looking for fundraising opportunities. That's my job. That's how I contribute to Team Kenya.
That's it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, you know what? This conversation, I love it again. We'll wait for them to go to Panama. We call them back again. So now later after that, they can give us their notes. And you do not want to support them, you can actually get to their community, which is FGC Kenya, isn't it? And then if you want to join that community as a parent who wants to also get their kids involved in robotics in the country, their community is open. Contact them, FGC Kenya, so that your kid can start to get exposed to robotics at an early age, because STEM as a field is the leading employer in terms of benefits in any economy in the world. They say current economies are just built by engineers. So what would you want for your kid to be out of that? Please make them be engineers as well and builders in that area as well. Good. We end our conversation this morning. Take them back online to the time that they joined us on at Lookup TV. That is online at Lookup TV across all your social media platforms. Myself, I am at Kenyan Simba. I'll see you tomorrow for another inspiring conversation. Good morning and goodbye, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through